You can find simple exercises to get up and down the stairs easier all over the internet. But what makes this video different? The difference is today I'm going to teach you how to use those exercises like how a physical therapist would. It's going to be a bit more personal of a conversation. And yes, by the end, you will be empowered to get up and down the stairs by yourself. If we haven't met, my name is Joe Siddaway. I'm actually a doctor of physical therapy, and I help older adults live their best years on their own terms. So let's dive right in. If we go through a recipe for a cake, we might gather each ingredient and lay them out on the countertop, like sugar, salt, some kind of a rising agent, cocoa powder. It's gotta be chocolate, right? Don't tell me you don't like chocolate cake. So here's the layout of our recipe for how to become stair masters. We need the flexibility in our joints to bring our foot high enough to get to the stair. We need the strength to push ourselves with really just one leg. And we need, last of all, the balance to keep from pulling a Jack and Jill and tumbling down the hill. Most people coming into this video though are going to have enough mobility to climb the stairs. 99% of us, the struggle is with this next part. It's having the strength to hold most of our body weight on just one leg. Never mind balance, our thigh muscles are just too weak, and we don't want to be known as the weak-kneed generation, right? This exercise I'm sharing with you works on both strengthening the knees and balance. And honestly, it even helps with the range of motion or mobility in your joint if you have that issue. So here's the exercise. The exercise is simple. It's a good old-fashioned lunge. This works on building mobility and flexibility in your knees, ankles, and hips. It works on single leg strength, just like you need for going up the stairs. And the farther apart you move your feet from each other, the more of a balance challenge you get. This is where I make it personal to you. Some people look at this and say, okay, that's easy, no big deal. Some people say, oh my goodness, there is no way I could do that. We need to make sure it's as easy as possible and progressively increase the difficulty. So here are your 3 levers that a physical therapist would use to make it harder or easier. The 3 levers are: how much hand support are you gonna have? How far apart are your feet? And how deep are you actually gonna bend that knee? So let's start off by having both hands supporting on a chair or a countertop. Keep your feet relatively close together and do the smallest mini lunge you can. First, we're gonna progress it by getting lower and lower and lower on our lunge. Deep knee bend is what I really want you to focus on first. That's gonna make it very challenging, and for muscle growth, which I talk about in another video, it's the best thing that we can do for you. Then I want you to focus on spreading those feet wider apart. So instead of having heel and toe being pretty close to each other, we're gonna separate it farther and farther and farther until we're really stretching ourselves and working on one leg taking most of our weight. The last thing is taking off the hands. So you can go from 2 hands to just 1 hand, or you could even just do, I'm only gonna use my fingertips instead of a whole hand. Both are good options. If you wonder how many reps and sets you need to do, the idea is just to start with 2 sets of 10. So 3 days a week, you get to have a lunch date with stronger legs. That's you, by the way. And go from 2 sets to 3 sets as soon as you're able to. Now, let's finish up by explaining those levers a little bit more. So say you start off, you're doing 2 sets of 10, maybe 3 sets of 10, and it's pretty easy. Now what you need to do is you already focus on going deeper in your knee bend, and that's good. Next, let's spread those feet apart. And what's gonna happen, and this is normal, is you're not gonna be able to do the same number of reps as you did before. That's part of the process. So don't feel like if you do less reps, you're not getting a benefit, because that's not true. Harder work that's done with less number of reps and sets is gonna get you a better outcome. It's gonna get you stronger than if you just did a lot of easy stuff. So spread your feet wider apart, and the goal is then to make progress, not start off with perfection. Eventually you will get to where you can lunge with no hands. It might take consistent effort for a long period of time, but it will happen if you stick with it. So summarizing what we just talked about, we want to do a lunge because it works on not only helping our knees, ankles, and hips have the mobility that they need to be able to do the stairs. It also works on single leg strength, which is crucial for being able to do stair climbing. The third thing is, especially when you start to take away the hands, that's going to be more of a balance challenge. which is perfect for something like climbing up the stairs. You're gonna need to have strength and balance to make that safe. Now, seeing how important having stronger legs is, I actually made a video that goes in depth on how to reverse muscle loss associated with aging. It explains more about how to progress exercises just like this one. So take a look here, and as always, thanks so much for watching.